Do you have your Form 1023 application ready to submit to the IRS's pay.gov website? Well, I'm going to tell you, don't hit submit until you watch this video. So I want to talk to you about the top 10 tips to shorten the tax exempt application process. Now, this is from irs.gov. And let's just take a moment to go over this because I want to point out that the application process, the time it takes for the IRS to approve your tax exempt status once you submit that application at pay.gov, it can take up to 6 months for them to approve that, up to 180 days. They are short staffed or they're just trying to recover still from COVID, and hey, it's taken them quite a while. It used to be that it only took up to 90 days, so up to 3 months, but now it's up to 6 months. So there's no need for us to add any time to that time frame. There is no need for us to make some errors, leave some things out, and add time to how long it takes for them to approve your application. So let me just go over this again. 10 top 10 tips to shorten, not lengthen, shorten the tax exempt application process. We are going to start with number 10. That is where they are starting. They're going from the least to the greatest. Okay. So, they're telling you following these simple tips can save time and effort, and I dare say money, because time is money. So number 10, provide the required information on the principal officers and board of directors. They're telling you, list the following information for the principal officers and board of directors. They just need their names, mailing addresses, and their titles and or positions. Now, let me just tell you, principal officers are the ones that would carry out the day-to-day operations of the nonprofit. So when you think of principal officer or chief operating officer, it could also be the chief executive officer. They could overlap. But in this case, to make it easy for you, just think of a principal officer is as like the CFO, right? Or COO. Now, the board of directors, on the other hand, they are the ones that are responsible for governing the nonprofit. They are the governing body of the nonprofit. All right. So they're going to make sure, the board of directors is going to make sure that the mission of the nonprofit is fulfilled, that it is carried out, that it happens. So that's why I just wanted to mention that because they mentioned those two. So I just kind of wanted to point out the difference between the two. But please put their names. I've had situations where I've reviewed some applications for clients who, opted for me to just review their completed application, and they enter their name at pay.gov in the Form 1023 application, but they forgot to enter the other two board members, or no matter how many board of directors you may have, make sure they're all there. I kind of stumbled there, but just make sure they're all listed. Okay. So everyone, and you may know that you need to have three minimum members on your board of directors. Make sure they're all here. All right. Make sure the names, the mailing address, and the titles and positions are here. Now, if you are one of those who your state requires that you actually list the board of directors when you're completing the articles of incorporation, if your state requires that, however you have them listed in the articles of incorporation, put their names in the Form 1023 application exactly the same way. Mailing address as well and titles do not deviate from the articles of incorporation. Again, if your state requires that you indeed list all of your board of directors when incorporating. Now, mailing address. I want to point this out. Mailing addresses, all right? So, in your articles of incorporation, you may list the mailing address as your office address. If you are one of the fortunate few who has a new nonprofit and actually has an office or is able to get an office, most of us have to work out of our home when we first start, and that's okay. But whatever the case is, you may have put the mailing address as your principal office address. Now, I want to point this out. In the bylaws, you actually need to put the mailing address as their home address. Now, this is in the bylaws, okay? You want to do that because um, if the secretary needs to mail out a notice to you, say they wanted to call a special meeting or what have you, if they need to mail that, they need to be able to mail that notice to your home address. They don't need to mail it to the office because, hey, you may be on vacation. I mean, this may be a special meeting that they need to call and they need to mail it to you and you need to get it. So that's why in the bylaws, you definitely need to list the home address. And I do have a video on how to prepare bylaws, so you may want to take a look at that, okay? Now, number 9. Again, these are the top 10 tips to shorten the tax exempt application process. Number 9 would be ensure a director, trustee, principal officer, or authorized individual signs the form 1023 or form 1024. I don't really address these. My videos are focused on the form 1023, which is 501c3 tax exemption. And you're approved by that under the Internal Revenue Code. So those other ones I do not address. But having said all of that, whatever the case, make sure that an authorized individual signs that Form 1023 when you get ready to submit that to the application in pay.gov. It's telling you generally a principal officer is the president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer. You like the way I said that, or treasurer. The person signing the application must indicate his or her title or authority to sign. Point this out, a taxpayer's representative may not sign Form 1023, 1024, or 1024A. Yeah, and they are letting you know it must be electronically signed. You're going to have to electronically sign that at pay.gov when you submit. So basically, right there, say you want me to prepare the 501c3 documentation for you, that Form 1023 application. I cannot sign. Just because I prepared it doesn't mean I can sign or electronically sign my name to that application. No, it has to be, one of the board of directors or so on and so forth. So make sure you don't make that mistake. That's gonna kick it back. That's gonna require the, IRS to have to reach out to you, and they're gonna do it via letter. And I know they ask for your phone number, what have you, but I have not run into a situation where they've called me on the phone and said, "Hey, there's an issue." They'll send you a letter and tell you what the issue is and that they need this information corrected before they can proceed. Now, and then they'll, of course, give you the number to the agent that is working on your application. But yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. So let's not slow down the process. Number 8. Don't forget to submit a copy of adopted bylaws. Okay? It could be your adopted bylaws, code of regulations, or any other document that sets out the organization's rules of operation, but only if adopted. So, again, watch the video on how to prepare bylaws. But you have to adopt the bylaws. Just because you drew them up and your team, you looked over them and the board of directors, you all thought, oh yeah, these bylaws are great. But you still have to adopt them. So that means you have to have a meeting and your secretary needs to prepare meeting minutes. And those meeting minutes basically are going to say, hey, we all got together, we looked at the bylaws, we made any changes that are necessary, we voted, that they look good, and we adopted those bylaws. And we adopted them on this date. And then when you submit it to the IRS, it does need to say that they are adopted bylaws. Okay. Number 7, include all of the necessary financial data. All right. And it's telling you, you know what I say, instructions, what instructions, instructions. So there you can right click on that if you want to open up the instructions to Form 1023 to get more information on the necessary financial data that they are talking about. But they're saying include all of the necessary financial data. And if you need instructions on that, click on that to determine how much information you need to provide based on how long your organization has existed. Okay. And I do have a video that I just released, and that is how to, well, actually, it's statement of revenues and expenses. It's really part one of what will be part two, maybe even part three. It's it's pretty detailed part of the Form 1023 application that I know has given a lot of my viewers some pause, cause for pause. Just had to say that. Like, it's probably one of the most difficult parts of the application to complete. And so you just kind of want to make sure you're doing it right. So definitely check out that video, Statement of Revenues and Expenses. Okay. Number 6. Number 6. Top 10 tips to shorten the tax exempt application process. This is number 6. Include the month the organization's annual accounting period ends. So your accounting period you may say I want it to end in December because that's when my personal accounting period ends. That's when they're going to start wanting me to think about my taxes. That's the month that you want to start thinking about the um, tax information, or in a nonprofit's case, your annual accounting that needs to be presented to the IRS via Form 990, 990 Easy, e-postcard, what have you. So it's telling you the accounting period ending date on the application should match the date stated in your bylaws on financial statements and on any prior returns filed. Kind of said that funny, prior returns filed. So in your bylaws, it must say when your accounting period ends. So you're going to say your accounting period ends in December or the month of December. It could be whatever month you decide. You may want it to be March. Whatever the case is, your bylaws must state that. Your financial statements must also state that. So you're going back to this financial data. When you see that in part 5, I think it is a Form 1023, well, actually, it may be part 6. You are going to have to put that information in there as well. This is why I love IRS.gov. I love the website because it really gives you all the information you need to get approved as a 501c3 tax exempt organization. I mean, it really helps you out. It's so thorough, but I understand not wanting to go through all this. So that's why I'm here. I'm here because I like to actually look at their website and find this information for you and just kind of give you a quick video, okay, of things that maybe you hadn't really thought of. But number 5, attach all required schedules. Some lines require supporting schedules, and check all line items on financial statements. So all required schedules, like if you're a church, you have to submit Schedule A, and it's a part of the application process when you're completing the Form 1023 at pay.gov. But if you're a church, you have to submit that. If you're a school, you have to submit Schedule B. If you're, one of the most important ones, Schedule E, if you have been in existence for more than 27 months, you need to complete that. But they're telling you attach all required schedules. Number 4, complete all required pages. I know that sounds like, really? Like, I'm going to complete all the pages. I mean, it's an application. Well, you may actually get to that application and like, how many pages? This is crazy. Why do I have to? I don't need to look at every single page. I don't need to answer every single question on this. Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. And the majority of the questions on the application are yes and no questions, but there are a slew of items that has to be attached as supplemental documents that if you read through the application, you'll see, oh yeah, I gotta attach this, gotta attach that, what have you. But they're telling you, don't try to avoid completing all those required pages. It says the info y'all can see I'm not the greatest at doing this, but I'm trying. So it says the information contained on each page and schedule of Form 1023 and Form 1024. Again, I'm only focusing on 1023. But they're saying each page and schedule is necessary for the IRS to make a determination about your tax exempt status. Form 1023 has various schedules and pages that must be filled out for churches, schools, hospitals, scholarships, supporting organizations, and certain other organizations. Check this out. Pay.gov will direct you to complete the required Form 1023 schedules. Like I said, it's a part of the Form 1023 application, the interactive application that's at pay.gov. You are going to you can't miss it, but certainly don't try to ignore it. Now, number 3. So we're down. These are top 10 tips to shorten the tax exempt application. We are at number 3. Provide enough information about the organization's activities to show us how it will achieve the exempt purpose. And I have a video on that I want you to watch. It's a video on how to complete part 4 of Form 1023. That's question number 1, where I show you step by step how to describe completely and in detail your past, present, and planned activities. So, what the IRS is telling you right here, they're saying, please don't restate the purpose. Please do not restate the purpose. So, let's take purpose out. Please don't restate the mission. Don't just tell me what your mission statement is. They said explain the specific activities that will achieve that purpose or your mission. Consider a who, what, when, where, why, and how approach. Explain past, present, and planned activities. And if you haven't started activity yet, develop plans that provide a clear understanding of how your organization will operate. They need to know, they need to know, okay, so you're new, you haven't had any past, let's just say you haven't had any. There are new nonprofits that have had past activities that they're able to put into this section. But if you're new, most of you haven't. So, hey, it's okay to put that. But you can do that. And if you are new, you most certainly should have some present activities. Absolutely. Because once you incorporate at your state, you should be moving, right? You're a nonprofit officially at the state. This tax exempt application, this just helps you to not pay taxes on donations or revenues or what have you that you receive, as long as they are used for the purpose of, progressing the nonprofit. But you should certainly have present activities, and you most certainly should have some planned activities. You know what you need to be doing presently. You know what you to grow and succeed and be successful with the nonprofit, and you know what you need to be doing in the future. So you should have some planned activities. So I urge you, please watch that video because this, aside from the statement of revenues, this section about the organization's activities would be right up there as in by way of difficulty, and there is just a certain way that you must answer those questions that they lay out. All right. So they say it is not necessary to describe activities that are speculative at this time. Don't in here saying, I think I might do this. I mean, yeah, I think we might do that. I think. No, you should know. You should have a plan. You should have a specific plan. You should be doing something presently to get your nonprofit up and running and moving in the direction of your mission. And you should certainly have future plans for your nonprofit. What will it be doing to accommodate or help provide services to the demographic you're trying to reach? Number two, attach a complete copy of the organizing document and all amendments. It's telling you if the applicant is a corporation, include a complete copy of the articles of incorporation that shows it has been filed with and approved by the state. All right. So if you have 3 pages to your articles of incorporation, don't just include that first page that says, hey, this is my articles of incorporation. It says the date that it was approved by the state, but you don't need all that other stuff. I'm just going to upload the first page so you'll see. Now, that may sound crazy because you're thinking, well, what? Of course, I would include the complete copy of the articles of incorporation or amendments. Well, they put this in here for a reason. They obviously have seen where this was not included. They probably saw, well, I only got 1 page. I got 2 pages, or maybe there are 3 pages, and said, I'm not going to include this provisions page, which, by the way, is one of the most important parts of incorporating. The provisions page, of your articles of incorporation is really important when you're trying to get approved at the IRS as a tax exempt organization. I want to point out one thing really quickly about the articles of incorporation, and I've seen this several times, and I wind up having to do a lot of amendments to my clients' articles, is because at the state, there are states that do not require you to actually say the specific reason that you are incorporating. Like it should be that I'm incorporating for religious and charitable purposes or what have you. Like you have to say that. You can't just say I'm incorporating for any legal purpose or what have you. Like the IRS is going to be looking for specific information. I just want to throw that in there. I'll probably do a video to go more in detail on that. Check out the one I do have one, Tricks to Incorporating. So you may want to just check that out because, hey, you don't want to get this far and then have to fix that. Don't let you fix it. You just, hey, you're trying to shorten the approval time, not lengthen it, right? Lengthen it. So I just want to show this here. It says if the applicant is not incorporated, include a similar organizing document such as a constitution, articles of association, or bylaws. Now you may want to know what type of nonprofit does not have to be incorporated. I mean, I thought everybody had to be incorporated in order to, be approved as a 501c3 tax exempt organization. But there are ones that don't. You know, they can just like church. A church doesn't have to be incorporated in their state. They can just, but they may want to go ahead and apply for tax exemption, and they can include their bylaws. That's what they mean by that, right? If you're not being incorporated, if the applicant is not incorporated, just include a similar organizing document. The bylaws are going to state that you are organized for the purposes of what have you. And another example would be a neighborhood watch. They may not organize at the state. So they would just probably do something, I'm guessing maybe articles of association. Maybe they would include that. That's just going to lay out their rules and regulations that they abide by as the neighborhood watch. But hey, I, of course, urge everyone to incorporate, make everything official. But I can understand there are certain reasons why it's not required, but that you can still be approved, right? But check this out. Number one. The number one tip to reduce delays in processing exempt organization applications is, and they put it in all caps and even bolded that, include the correct user fee. And this is funny because we may laugh, but they may, again, they're not just coming up with this. They've seen this happen clearly. And though the application says, Form 1023, submit $600 right there when you're getting ready to pay for it, it tells you the fee. But you may submit $275, which is the Form 1023 EZ fee. It may not be that you did it on purpose. You just were reading about the Form 1023 EZ and that process, and you, oh my God, oh, I put the wrong application fee. Well, that's going to delay their approval process. So they're saying pay the correct user fee for Form 1023, Form 1024, and Form 1024A. And you'll do that at pay.gov. You'll use a bank account, debit card, or credit card. I think that fee for Form 1024 and Form 1024A is $600 also for the loan form. And I refer to it that way. That one is $600. And so just include the correct user fee. And they say, they're so nice. They're saying, following these 10 tips, excuse me, can help shorten the time it takes to process an application for tax exempt status. A correctly completed application sent with all required documentations and schedules has a good chance of being accepted with no further contact. That is what you want. You do not want them to have to contact. You want them to just send you that letter that says you are approved as a 501c3 tax exempt organization. So it has been a pleasure speaking with you all again today. And please subscribe if you have not done so. Check out all the links below. Look at those because it will give you pertinent information that will help you complete that Form 1023. It helps you to not have to reinvent the wheel. I put it all in the links below. And thank you so much and have a